Layout. We got the chat up there. Hello, hello. Right. Gosh, it's been a little while, several days at least, since I last streamed. I haven't been idle. I have been doing things at a reasonable rate as well. I'm gonna try not to talk so much today because I've got a bit of a sore throat. So anyway, so for the scene that we were working on last time, Rainbow Dash meeting the tax pony and going, oh no, the tax pony's here. That's done. Like, it's actually completely done. I'll show you that in a minute. And then I've got the lines, or at least most of the lines, like a first pass of them, done for the next scene. So this stream will be initial animating, like the storyboarding of things, and maybe adjusting some lines as necessary. So I'll give a high-level overview of what I envision happening in this, and we'll go from there. So first of all, the finished video from last time.
Perhaps Fluttershy would have been more agreeable if I'd bought her a dinner or two earlier in the year. But it's too late now! Oh, I only have half a day to come up with the rest of the money, but I've asked every pony in town! Hey there! I know we've only just met, but I believe in love at first sight. Let's get married. Wait, do I know you?
Maybe. My name's Pastilles. I'm the tax auditor. What was that you just asked me?
Yeah, so relatively short, but I think it gets the message across. I'm especially quite happy with how Rainbow freaking out, how well this came out.
Asked me?
I mean, I myself have watched that back at least 50 odd times, and I still laugh at it. Like, part of it is just the situation, like, the complete contrast, the complete 180 of emotions that Rainbow does. Just to put yourself in his horseshoes for a moment. Like, you're just walking along the street on your way to do your job, someone randomly proposes marriage to you, you introduce yourself, and they totally freak out and run away screaming as fast as they can.
I'm the tax auditor. What was that you just asked me?
Yeah, and this zooming in, this is going to crossfade into Ponyville, implying that that's where we're going back to. Because that's where we are going back to. Because this scene directly follows into the next bit. So I guess I'll need to make a Blender project for that. Alright. I don't think I'll be running through any of this at any sort of pace. I'm just gonna... I want to get a solid foundation idea for what we're generally doing. And I'll save all the hard work for the following days. So this here, this Blender project, is what I used for rendering the video that you just watched. Well, it's not 100% true. So there was this one video that I made and then re-rendered because Actually, I'll need to actually open the thing again to explain this properly. So when we start out here, we actually are slowly zooming in on Rainbow. And doing that with the variables of the clouds and Rainbow, when these were all individual assets, keeping all that consistent manually was way too difficult to do. Actually, it wasn't difficult, it was just really inconvenient. And then also when Rainbow flies off, the screen does a little shake. Like that, like the screen just does a little shake as she flies. And if I wanted to make the screen shake in the same way, I would have had to individually do Rainbow, the background, the flowers, past dues, and all of the shadows. That would have been way too tedious. So what I did was I rendered the entire video and then re-rendered it in this Blender project where I applied the slight zooming in on everything. Didn't notice the screen shake. That's fine, it's supposed to be a subtle effect. But apparently, I think because I've moved the Blender project around into different folders, you can see it's not actually showing up on anything. So what I'll need to do is bring this in, I think. Will I? No. You see, what I don't want to render and re-render more than I absolutely have to, because surely every time I do a re-render it's going to compromise the quality ever so slightly. So this that I'm just importing now and putting up here, this is render number 1. I'm going to call it render number 1. That is the one that doesn't have the shaking applied to it. And then these keyframes that you see in here are the ones that make the zooming and the shaking happen. So the first thing to do will be to copy the keyframes from this thing that doesn't work anymore onto this new one. And hopefully that won't be too much of a pain in the arse to do. Hopefully Blender will cooperate. Hello, Hazy. Right, so I think that's worked. Looks like it has, yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Right. So what I will do now is move these down to the very bottom. And like I said, as this zooms in, we're going to crossfade into the Ponyville scene. Speaking of, let's go and get the Ponyville scene. Hello. Okay. Looking great so far. Oh, you wouldn't have seen, so this is the finished version.
Perhaps Fluttershy would have been more agreeable if I'd bought her a dinner or two earlier in the year, but it's too late now! Oh, I only have half a day to come up with the rest of the money, but I've asked every pony in town! Hey there! I know we've only just met, but I believe in love at first sight. Let's get married. Wait, do I know you?
Maybe. My name is Pastilles. I'm the tax auditor. What was that you just asked me?
There you go. And then that zoom crossfades into the Ponyville scene. The next scene, we go back to Ponyville, where we were earlier, with Twilight. And she's now outside Sugar Cube Corner yelling at Pinkie for having a job but not paying taxes.
For the last time! You have a job! You work at Sugar Cube Corner! You've gotta pay tax on your earnings! Nope. Silly Twilight. I work for the cakes for free. In return, they give me free lodgings and food, and give me money from a set budget for all the things I want to buy. That's the same as having an income. How can you not see that? Twilight, leave her alone. She said she ain't got a job. Yes, Twilight. Did you not hear what she said? Now just sign her tax forms as an official witness. I am not signing any form to claim Pinkie Pie is unemployed when she clearly isn't. Don't ask me to abuse my position as a student of Princess Celestia and lie to the tax pony for you. It's not lying. It's true. Technicalities. Princess Celestia believes strongly in ponies helping each other and doing their duty, and that includes paying taxes. She would be ashamed of you all, and I am not getting roped into any of your scams. And furthermore, he's here. He's here. The tax pony's here. Hide the bits. Burn the paperwork! The horror! The horror!
I thought that I could make a start a bit early if any pony was actually ready with their tax return, but apparently not.
Well, in that case, it's once again up to me to be a moral exemplar.
So yeah, raw lines. Those have had no real editing applied to them, but they give you the basic idea of what's going on. Okay, you liked the panicking part? Yes, so did I. That worked quite well. And what's with the odd background zoom? That's going to crossfade into the next scene, implying that we're going back to Ponyville. Because this has only been like a 1 minute scene. It doesn't make sense to have a fade to black there, I don't think. Right. So as we zoom in here, we're going to crossfade over to, well, wherever it is. I need to go and find the assets that I used. Scene 3 it would have been. Let's go find Sugar Cube Corner. Here we are. Right. Assets. So this is the exact same scene that we used for the previous scene. Previous as in the one that came before the one that I just showed you, where we had Applejack's apple stand over here, and this was entirely out of frame. And we need to make it so that Sugar Cube Corner is mainly in frame, and everything over here is out of frame, because when Applejack yells at Twilight to leave Pinkie alone, we're going to zoom out to show that we're still in basically the same place. Which will look something like this, I guess. Let me see if I can build this roughly. Something like this. So what I'm thinking is I will put Pinkie up on the balcony here, and I'll need to make a cutout of this balcony that I can layer on top of Pinkie so it looks like she's actually standing up here. And Twilight will be down here yelling at her. And then at some point we zoom all the way out to once again reveal the apple stand. I'll worry about exactly how we do that a little bit later, I think. Do I want to maybe move it to about here? And then down a bit? I don't know. Just trying to imagine. So Twilight's going to take up this sort of area. Pinkie's going to be over here, and then, well, essentially anything to the right of Pinkie is dead space. You should teach me about masking. Is that different to layering? Because if we... Let me show you one other thing. This. Here. So, Fluttershy. This interior and this door, this entire scene, are two different layers. And the door is part of that layer, so maybe you noticed Fluttershy is always very strategically placed such that she never actually overlaps with the door. Because otherwise the door would overlap with her, which wouldn't make sense with this perspective. She would have to be in front of the door, not the other way around. So a rather inelegant way of doing it, but it works well enough. That's the sort of thing that I'm talking about here. So what I'm saying is I would go into Paint, crop out this balcony thing, put Pinkie on the balcony, layer the cutout balcony over top of her so it looks like she's standing on the balcony. What I am saying is that since we've got Pinkie up here interacting with Twilight down here and nothing going on over here, I need to consider how far over I move this, because everything to the right of Pinkie is essentially dead space, because nothing's going to actually happen. Masking a shape where you can cause a shape behind it to be overridden. A shape where you can cause a shape behind it. Yeah, I think I'm going to need to see a visual example of what exactly you mean by that, because that definition isn't immediately intuitive to me. Alright, I'm thinking I'll do it a bit like this.
What was that you just asked me?
Okay. So this is going to fade in. We'll start at 0. And we'll go to 1 here. So yeah, that's the sort of thing that we're doing. I think I might make the fade happen a little bit sooner. Okay, that's probably fine. And as we're doing this zoom and fade, the first line of Twilight, I think, is going to play with heavy echo. Like, for the last time! You have a job! I've seen you! That sort of thing. Okay. How do I want to go about doing this? Because I don't think... With how awful my throat's feeling right now, I don't think I'll be compelled to tackle this properly. I'll just plan out a bunch of things, get assets in place, and attack it properly tomorrow. That's my general plan. Maybe Synthbot will show up later to talk about animation, but he's not responded in the thread yet, so not guaranteed. It would be nice to have someone else here to do some talking for me, so I don't have to do it. Right. Let's start gathering some assets then, I suppose. And we'll start with what I mentioned. Okay. So I want only the balcony that's going to overlap with Pinkie. And then this is going to be annoying, but hey, got to be done. Alright, so this doesn't need to be particularly elegant as I erase down here, but it does need to be carefully trimmed around these edges and especially up here where Pinkie's going to be. I'll play some music as well. Let's put some music on. I don't feel like having a pony zone. Turn that down a bit. Alright, that's probably good. Alright, let's erase some of the stuff then. An example of masking. So this is an image that's overlaid on top of something, and it's got transparent regions in it. Oh, okay. I think I understand. Right, so that's supposed to be Discord's claw. Right. So I understand now, I think. What do you mean by masking? So basically what you've said to Blender is, I want these bits of the image to be transparent. And then apply it to this, which then makes it cover up the trash. And also the trash can, okay. So I don't know how I would apply that, or rather, I think I can see how it would be applied to this, but I don't know how to do it. And it seems that for my purposes, what I'm doing here is perfectly workable. And it's already essentially done. I just need to move it in place. I'm not sure if it needs to move up or down or anything. Right. So now, if I were to move that up a little bit. And then go grab a picture of Pinkie. Okay, now I need to stop talking. Oh, do I not have the Pinkie assets downloaded? Okay. I don't have Synthbot's master doc of pony poses for Pinkie. I'll need to go get that. But if I grab Pinkie like this. Ah, right. I see my mistake there. I need to erase the window bit as well. I forgot to do that. But you see what I mean. She phases through reality. It's normal. Oh, this is the 1 hour extended version. Actually, no, we can leave this playing while we're doing the Sugar Cube corner. Because I like this. And also I can't be bothered to change it. That's going to be the theme of this of this stream, I think. I can't be bothered. So yeah, if you have ideas for complex things that you want me to try and do, save them for next stream, I think. Simple stuff only for now. Still a few bits of pink left on here. Let's get rid of those. Alright. There we go. Pinkie Pie is now on the balcony. So, yeah, not as elegant as the masking, but it gets the job done. I've technically added an additional image to act as a mask. I guess I would just call that a layer. Oh, Synthbot posted. Alright, I'll keep an eye out for him. Alright, speaking of Synthbot, I need to go and find his, this thing. One sec. I don't have it pinned, annoyingly. It'll be one of these. Here we go. Pinkie Pie. Yeah, that's fine. Assets, Pinkie Pie. Save it there. Okay. That's downloading. Alright. To help my ailing throat, I'm gonna go refill my water bottle. Just give me literally 1 minute here. 1 minute. Alright. I am back, and let's see what else I can do. lines, I guess. So it's going to be the same sort of approach as I've used in the past, I think. I'll break all of these up into individual lines, place them on the Blender timeline, select some poses, and then we'll edit the audio properly.
For the last time! You have a job! You work at Sugar Cube Corner! You've got...
Oh, fuck it now. This better not be COVID, I'll be fucking pissed.
For the last time! You have a job!
I think I would want to actually kind of adjust the timing on the individual lines at least.
Time! You have a job! For the last time!
Oh, come on.
For the last time! You have a job! For the last time! You have a job! You work at Sugar Cube Corner!
Have I been vaccinated? I've had 3 of the fucking jabs, mate. So I shouldn't. Assuming the jabs do what they're supposed to do. It shouldn't be COVID. As far as I know, I've never had it.
You have a job! You work at Sugar Cube Corner! You have a job! You work at Sugar Cube Corner! You have a job! You work at Sugar Cube Corner! You've got to pay tax on your earnings!
Your old grandmother's medicine recipe. Some nice, I mean, I was gonna say babushka, but do you call it babushka in... It's not... Babushka is strictly Russian, isn't it? Or is it generally Slavic? Anyway, I don't know. A big onion. Okay. Onion, sugar, shake it, and more sugar. Garlic, ginger, and honey. Drink. So, onion juice and sugar, basically. That's, So, when it comes to throat, it's kind of syrup stuff that helps. And drinking what is essentially sugar syrup with some onion in it. That's basically what you've described there. So for the stuff that I'm drinking right now, I've had 3 of the throat sweet things, these strepsils. And the packet says don't take more than 1 every 3 hours. I've had 3 in the past half hour, so I probably shouldn't eat any more of those for a little while. But for my drink, I've got the Ribena, which is quite syrupy. Does a good job. If only Blender had its own audio editing. Even if Blender did, I think I'd still prefer to use Audacity.
For the last time! You have a job! You work at Sugar Cube Corner! You've got to pay tax on your earnings!
Honey and garlic. See, honey I understand, because it's syrupy. But garlic I don't quite understand. I don't see how that would help your throat. And then again, I'm not a doctor, so...
Nope. Silly Twilight. I work for the cake. Nope. Silly Twilight. I work for the cakes for free. Nope. Silly Twilight. I work for the cakes for free. In return, they give me free lodgings and food. Nope. Silly Twilight. I work for the cakes for free. In return, they give me free lodgings and food. And give me money from a set budget for all the things I want to buy.
Okay. Garlic has some antibacterial stuff. Alright. I'll take your word for it because I can't be bothered to actually research it.
That's the same as having an income. How can you not see that?
Yeah, I'm still not super happy with a lot of these lines, but as always, getting 15 to shout has been very, very difficult. So especially this one. He's here, the tax pony is here.
Hide the bit!
No, this one.
He's here! He's here! The tax pony's here!
I must have clicked the generate button at least 50 odd times to get that.
From a set budget for all the things I want to buy. That's the same as having an income. How can you not see that? Twilight, leave her alone. She said she ain't got a job. Yes, Twilight. Did you not hear what she said? Now just sign. Twilight, leave her alone. She said she ain't got a job. Yes, Twilight. Did you not hear what she said? Now just sign her tax forms as an official witness. I am not signing any form to claim Pinkie Pie is unemployed when she clearly isn't. Don't ask me to abuse my position as a student of Princess Celestia and lie to the tax pony for you. It's not lying. It's truth. Technicalities. Princess Celestia believes strongly in ponies helping each other.
I think I might want a longer pause after technicalities.
Technicalities. Princess Celestia... Technicalities. Princess Celestia believes... Technicalities. Princess Celestia believes strongly in ponies helping each other and doing their duty. Ponies helping each other and doing their duty. And that includes paying taxes. She would be ashamed of you. Includes paying taxes. Includes paying taxes. She would be ashamed. Includes paying taxes. She would be... Includes paying taxes. She would be ashamed of you all, and I am not getting roped into any of your scams. And furthermore...
Okay, and furthermore, Twilight gets interrupted by Rainbow. Honey... Yes, so the medicinal properties of honey are well known. I mean, that's been a thing since ancient times. And tasting great, yes. I don't have any honey, but I do have some golden syrup downstairs that I use in cooking. Can't beat the wisdom of the old? Actually, you can. With science. But, hey. They didn't know an awful lot about the world, but what they did know they usually got right, at least with, you know, the ancient medicine stuff. They were right about honey, I'll say at least. What are you golden syruping for? %, corn syrup? Yeah, so?
And furthermore, he's here!
So this needs to be fairly immediate, because Rainbow's going to fly in and interrupt Twilight.
And furthermore, he's here! He's here! The tax pony's here!
I might leave a little extra space. Actually, I'm going to keep this separate, because I don't yet know how Rainbow's going to fly in. Like, there'll be a whoosh, and then she'll yell, and we'll need a little space for the whoosh.
Of you all, and I am not getting roped into any of your scams! And furthermore...
Honey, syrup, tomato, tomato. They are both essentially pure sugar. So... it's, they're not that different.
And I am not getting roped into any of your scams! And furthermore...
Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna leave some space there. It'll be exported as a separate line anyway, so I'll be able to move it wherever we want. I mean, these positionings of the lines are not final. I'm only worried about the timing of the lines that will be, you know, together, like this.
I am not signing any form to claim Pinkie Pie is unemployed when she clearly isn't! Don't ask me to abuse my position as a student of Princess Celestia and lie to the tax pony for you! I am not... He's here! He's here! The tax pony's here!
Right, these I'm going to place individually. The ponies panicking about hiding the bits,
Hide the bits!
burning their paperwork,
Burn the paperwork!
and the general horror of the situation.
The horror! The horror!
I mean, this isn't AI generated, that's taken from the show, but I think I can be allowed to do that.
I thought that I could make a start a bit early if any pony was actually ready with their tax return. I thought that I could make a start a bit early if any pony was actually ready with their tax return, but apparently not.
Okay. Alright, so now let's split these into individual lines.
For the last time, you have a job!
Since we're zooming in as we say this, I might want to change exactly where it's placed. So I'll keep that separate, but the rest of these can be together.
No, silly Twilight. I work for the cakes for free. In return, they give me free lodgings and food, and give me money from a set budget for all the things I want to buy. That's the same as having an income. How can you not see that? Twilight, leave her alone. She said she ain't got a job. Yes, Twilight. Did you not hear what she...
When we do the zoom out...
Twilight, leave her alone. She said she ain't got a job.
I might want to give some time to zoom out and make those two separate. There's no harm in separating them now. We can always put them back together later. But it's harder to separate them. So... yeah.
Yes, Twilight. Did you not hear what she said? Now just sign her tax forms as an official witness. I am not signing any form to claim Pinkie Pie is unemployed when she clearly isn't. Don't ask me to abuse my position as a student of Princess Celestia and lie to the tax pony for you. It's not lying. It's true. Technicalities. Princess Celestia believes strongly in ponies helping each other and doing their duty. And that includes paying taxes. She would be ashamed of you all, and I am not getting roped into any of your scams. And furthermore, he's here. He's here. The tax pony's here. Hide the bits! Burn the paperwork! The horror! The horror!
I thought that I could make a start a bit early if any pony was actually ready with their tax return, but apparently not.
Well, in that case, it's once again up to...
Yeah, it does get me curious. How much data does Lily have? I mean, it may well be only the horror. Lovely. We have this.
A disaster! A horrible, horrible disaster! Look, girls! A broken stem on one of the zinnias! This is a disaster! But we don't even have Matilda's flowers in yet, much less arranged. You want Matilda's arrangements today?
And then the horror, and that's it. So yeah, less than a minute. "19 lines, it seems. Now, these lines aren't the be-all and end-all, especially for Pinkie. I'm going to want to add some laughs, for Twilight, some angry yells. We'll worry about that later, though. Right, make a new folder for this. Okay. And let's get the first of the lines in. So yeah, I want this "for the last time" to be echoing as we're zooming in, and then this next line directly following it to be as we're just getting into focus.
For the last time! You have a job! You work at Sugar Cube Corner!
And then of course I need to fix this. Oh wait, no, that's Pinkie, that's not the balcony. This Pinkie doesn't matter. She's just there as an example. I can remove her, she can go over here. Oh yeah, speaking of Pinkie,
For the last time!
are my Pinkies done yet? Actually, instead of fading all of these in, it might be better to instead fade this out, that way I only have to do one thing. Just grab this, move it way up. I don't know how many things I'm going to want to add, so I'll be conservative about it. This will be more efficient. That way I only have to fade things once.
For the last time! You have a job! You work at Sugar Cube Corner!
I think I would want this entire scene to also zoom in a little bit. But I think that's going to run into the same sort of issue as we did last time with Rainbow and the clouds, if I want to make this zoom, so we'll think about that a little later, I guess. Right, Pinkie Pie. The download's probably done by now, so I guess we can do the tedious task of sifting through all the Pinkie Pies. Getting rid of the ones that won't work. Alright, it's a tar file, I'm gonna have to open that up. Alright, that's extracting. Tar files are nice. They extract pretty quickly. Alright, screw it. I'm gonna have another one of these sweet things. Strop stones. Pinkie Pies. Right, if for some reason you don't want to watch me sift through nearly 3,000 images of Pinkie Pie, then I don't know, go find something else to do. Ah, new name, Mr. M1903 Donuts, interesting name, okay. Lots of Ponk, yes. So, these things that I make, they're all made up of individual images of ponies that move around. And for that I need these individual pictures of ponies. I haven't sorted through the Pinkie Pie ones before yet, because I've never actually used her extensively. But that's about to change. So I need to sift through all these pictures and get rid of all of the ones that obviously aren't going to work. Stuff like, you know, this. It's long and tedious, but thankfully it only needs to be done once. So ones where she's cropped out of frame. Actually, I might keep that one. That has potential uses, but I don't want stuff like these. I might keep a party cannon one. Might. But yeah, this is going to be the story of my life for the next... I don't even know how long it's going to take. Hopefully not that long, but you never know. It's not going to be a quick process by any stretch of the imagination. Do I want to keep the straight main Pinkie? Is it like Uncle Owl but with 15 AI? I don't know what Uncle Owl is, so I'm going to have to pass on that question. He's a guy who does SpongeBob spoofs with still images while doing it. So this, I presume that you've watched the relevant videos that I've done previously. Twilight Drunkle, that is. No. Yeah, not showing. The whole reason we use this chat is so that comments don't have to be deleted, so as long as you're not being a jackass, I don't care. I'm just going to turn my music down a little bit. You only just discovered the channel? Alright. Let me give you an example of what we're doing, since you're new. Just gonna have to turn the music off before I do that. Let's pause that. Right, so this is the most recently created scene. It's about a minute long, and it's fairly representative of the kinds of things that you'll see here.
Perhaps Fluttershy would have been more agreeable if I'd butter a dinner or two earlier in the year, but it's too late now! Oh, I only have half a day to come up with the rest of the money, but I've asked every pony in town! Hey there! I know we've only just met, but I believe in love at first sight. Let's get married! Wait, do I know you?
Maybe. My name is Past Dues. I'm the tax auditor. What was that you just asked me?
So that's the basic idea. If this is the first stream that you've seen, that scene out of context won't make much sense, but in terms of the style, that's pretty representative. If you look in the description, the video description of the YouTube version of this stream, there's a link to the thing that I'm adapting. So this is an adaptation of The Terrifyingly Taxing Tribulations of Twilight Sparkle. It's a fan fiction. Ponies are trying to hide their income from the tax pony, much to the dismay of Twilight. That's the general premise. Nope, it's not about pony fans. So I'm doing this in keeping with the same sort of style of the show. That's the theme here. So it's not going to have anything like pony fans or anything like that in it. What's going on with Rainbow Dash is that the pony tax code allows for a 20% discount for married couples. So what she's trying to do is get someone to marry her for a day so she can pay less tax. And all of the other ponies have a whole bunch of other harebrained tax schemes that they're trying to pull off as well, that we also learn about. Alright. So my standard for this is just anything that Pinkie isn't wearing an outfit, anything where she isn't fully in frame, anything that isn't in the art style of the show or something you would reasonably see in the show. It's deleted. Season 10. I wouldn't call it Season 10, I would call it, like, Season 2.1. Because I'm not keeping any of the Twilight is an Alicorn or any of that. I'm trying to keep the early season vibes in this as well. Stick the music back on. Oddly appropriate, since we're sorting Pinkie pictures. We don't want a unicorn. Pinkie Pie. Pinkie's... I'll keep that, I guess. Why not the book? She could be reading the tax code to find... why not the book as opposed to... what? So Rainbow Dash did read her tax form to find the loophole. This is going to require me going back through previous scenes that I've animated. So in this little scene, Rainbow Dash does read her tax form and finds out that this. Oh, you mean the deleted book pic? Because when it comes to pictures like this, I don't want the ponies to be holding props. They usually get in the way of things. They're hyper-specific as well. They're only usable in very specific circumstances. Like, there's only one circumstance in which you would use that, and I don't want that. And anything that I do end up deleting and needing, I can easily recreate later. Like, animating Pinkie holding a book is not difficult. I can just get a picture of a book and a picture of Pinkie, slap them together in paint, and then that's done. So in the interest of having... because every time that I want to select a picture to use, I have to search through all of these. And I need to do that again and again for every time. So it's actually advantageous to me to have as few pictures as possible in here. And anything that is not very applicable or only workable in one very specific scenario is not worth keeping. Actually, I'll keep that one. This one... her colour's a bit off. Yeah, so a lot of these images you'll find that colours are a little bit off sometimes. So I'll keep this in mind if there's one, because you can see her mane is a very different colour to the rest. So I'll be wanting to keep an eye out if there's any images like that that can replace it, because sometimes you get duplicates. Save time, keep the process streamlined. Exactly. Also, I already have a good idea of the kinds of poses that I'll need anyway for Pinkie. So, in this scene, Pinkie's going to be up here on the balcony, and Twilight's going to be down here yelling at her that she needs to pay her taxes. But Pinkie already knows all of the rules of the tax. In order to get out of paying tax, she just needs to be unemployed. So she simply claims to be unemployed. And that's literally her tax avoidance scheme. Oh, I'm not employed. The cakes just give me money, and I work for free. Like, they give me money as like a gift, a generous gift. It's not actually employment, therefore no taxes. Sell stuff on eBay. Hmm. Okay. Well, hey, at least you're doing something. Making money, that's good. I don't want stuff like that. Pinkie is silly, but she's not that silly. Pinkie with wings, no. Latex Pinkie. Yeah. I don't do the overtly sexual stuff. It's not my style. I mean, innuendos is usually as far as I'll go. In terms of content creation, it's just not the kind of thing that I do. Pinkie is way smarter than Twilight, she just has too much ADHD to present herself like that. Well, you can see Pinkie many different ways. It's one of the things that is actually fun about her character. I mean, is she actually really smart? Who knows? And the thing is, you can make her whatever the situation really needs to be. Both good and bad, because you need to be careful not to be overly liberal with kinkiness. I don't know how long I've been playing this Pinkie thing, but it's about time I change it. Nearly 40 minutes I've been playing. Let's play something else. Let me just turn that down a little bit so it's not too loud. How did I get all of these assets? Okay, so over from here in the Pony Preservation Project thread, this is the AI Ponies project, so you may or may not know, I don't know, but when it comes to 15AI, I was the one who made a significant number of the datasets for it. So all of the pony datasets, and then Aquatine Hunger Force, Dan Versus, Doctor Who, and then a few others that I've submitted that aren't on his site yet. all of those were done by me. So that's where this comes from. And as part of that, one of the fellows, this dude, Synthbot, he's very skilled at archives. And he's currently putting together datasets for images and animation. And as part of that dataset for images, I asked him to scrape all of Derpy for all of the vector images for all of the main characters. And that's where that comes from. I only asked him for the characters. I didn't ask for any sub-filtering. But yeah, that's where that comes from. I can give you, if you wanted, I can go and dig up the link and find it for you. Alright, give me a sec, I'll go find it for you. I'll close the tab. Here we go. That'll give you all the links you need. Alright, back to sorting these. Oh my god. These strepsils, these throat sweets, they're fucking useless. They haven't done anything. I mean, they taste nice, but they haven't sorted my throat out at all. So I think I'm just gonna chuck those. Stop eating them. They're useless. Black tea with lemon and honey. I've had a lot of remedies suggested to me. I mean, this may come as a surprise to you, but I don't actually drink tea. Or hot drinks in general, actually. Not a fan. But if this throat thing continues for more than like a day, I probably will start more seriously looking for actual medicine. I'd just go down to the pharmacy and get some actual throat medicine for it. I mean, stuff that's actually designed from the ground up. For that. You're German and you don't consume sausage. Fair enough. I mean, I consume my fair share of alcohol, so I got that going for me at least. Got to live up to at least some stereotypes, you know. Would alcohol help at all? I have no idea. Well, in the spirit of science, let's try it. If anything, it'll nullify my my sensations of pain a little bit. Well, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt per se. It just feels very dry. Alright, I've had a few sips of my port. We'll see if that does anything. know the advertisers. I know there's some images in here that YouTube won't like. I don't care. I mean, none of my videos or any of these streams are making any money, so literally who cares? In fact, I haven't gotten in trouble at all, it just hasn't identified any of them, so as long as I don't have big titties all front and center, it's probably fine. Right, where was I?
Could you step aside, Twilight?
Is that Apple Bloom singing? It's this. So there's probably a little bit of Apple Bloom in there. Nice. Apple Bloom. I'll keep that one. You like this mashup? I can get it for you. You don't already have it. In fact, this will include the playlist. There you go. So that's the exact video plus the playlist that I'm currently playing. I want to keep this because it's very easy to edit this. To have her holding anything. So I'll just do a very quick edit on this. Give her the phone. No. No, I will not be doing that. There you go. Easy. Alright, save that. Alright, done. There it is. Edited.
A good friend. Not friends.
Yeah, there is some good good music out there with the AI. How about I play a couple of those for you? I've got a list of links somewhere here. I'll go play some of these. It's just a list of links that I haven't bothered to label, so I don't know what they are anymore. Yeah. I'll just go through these.
I know you think that I shouldn't still love you or tell you that.
think that's a bit too rude.
But if I didn't say, well, I'd still have felt it. Where's the sense in that? I promise I'm not trying to make your life harder. Return to where we were. But I will go down with this ship. And I put my hands up and surrender. There will be no white flag above my door. I'm in love, always will be. I know I'll have too much mess and destruction to come back again. I cause nothing but trouble. I understand if you can't talk to me again. And if you love by the rule of its owner, then I'm sure that that makes sense. But I will go down with this ship. And I put my hands up and surrender. There will be no white flag above my door. I'm in love, always will be. And when we leave, I'm sure we will. All that was there will be there still. I'll let it pass it. Hold my door, and you will think that we'll burn. I will go down with this ship, and I put my hands up and surrender. There will be no white flag above my door. I'm in love, and always will be. I will go down with this ship, and I put my hands up and surrender. There will be no white flag above my door. I'm in love, and always will be. But I will go down with this ship, and I put my hands up and surrender. There will be no white flag above my door. I'm in love, and always will be.
Mirror machine.
Yes! Mirror machine! Mirror machine! I'm a bunny fucking mirror machine! Mirror machine! Mirror machine! Without mirrors I will die! Give me the mirrors! I need the mirrors! I smell the mirrors! I need all the mirrors to survive! I need the mirrors! I breathe the mirrors! I smell the mirrors! I need all the mirrors to survive! They call me the mirror machine! I catch the mirrors! I spread the meds! I eat the mirrors! I shit the mirrors! Without mirrors I will die! Inhale the mirrors! Exhale the mirrors! Inject the mirrors into my bloodstream! There are good mirrors and there are bad mirrors! Why has God abandoned us? Smoke the mirrors! Snort the mirrors! Take the mirrors until you own me! If you borrowed my mirrors, then you own me! A new fresh snow pity! Mirror machine!
Some of these are quite silly. I love it. Whoops.
I hurt myself today to see if I still feel. I focus on the pain, the only thing that's real. The needle tears a hole, the old familiar sting. Try to kill it all the way, but I remember everything. What have I become? My sweetest friend. Everyone I know goes away in the land, and you could have it all. My empire of dirt, I will let you down. I will make you hurt. I wear this crown of thorns upon my liar's chair, full of broken thoughts I cannot repair. Beneath the stains of time, the feelings disappear. You are someone else. I am still right here. What had I become? My sweetest friend. Everyone I know goes away in the land, and you could have it all. My empire of dirt, I will let you down. I will make you hurt. If I could start again, a million miles away, I would kill myself. I would find a way. sing along with you. If everything could ever feel this real forever. If anything could ever be this good again. The only thing I'll ever ask of you. God,
What's it?
not to stop
Hello.
when I say it.
Okay, yeah, we can do that now. I'm not invested in anything right now. Give me a sec. Just need to go find the document that we were working with. Right. Okay. Give me just a couple minutes. I'm gonna go refill my water bottle again. Go to the bathroom. And I'll bring Synthpod in when I get back.
He sang. Breathe out so I can breathe you in. Hold you in. And now I know you've always been. Out of your head, out of my head, I sing. And I wonder when I sing along with you, if everything could ever be this real forever. If anything could ever be this good again. Only thing I'll ever ask of you, you've got to promise not to stop when I say when. He sang. And I wonder if everything could ever feel this real forever. If anything could ever be this good again. Only thing I'll ever ask of you, you've got to promise not to stop when I say when.
Alright, I'm back. Alright, just give me 1 minute here and I'll get Synthpod in so we can talk about data sets. Okay, Synthbot, introduce yourself, you there?
Hey everyone.
Yep, there you are. Okay. Alright, so, bringing up the document, wherever I put that, here it is. If anyone wants to join in on it, there you go. And for the benefit of you, Synthbots, I'll share my screen so you don't have to deal with stream lag. There you go. So, where were we last time? So we were talking mainly about the animation dataset, I think.
We talked about two things. I think there were two things in progress last time. So one was the animation dataset for the XFL files, and the second was the Desu archive stuff, where I was still collecting the image IDs before scraping.
Okay.
So the Desu archive stuff is, I think it's just all the active stuff is done now. So that's been running in the background for a bit over a week now. So I think
that's what
actually,
this is. Make a script to scrape Desu archive for all data, including images post 2014, a week to make, roughly 2 weeks to run. That's what you...
Exactly.
Okay.
And I think we finished just slightly before 2 weeks, but it's still. Let me check how far it is so far. Give me a minute.
Alrighty. What else?
Okay, so it's scraped about 2.7 million images of I think 3.5 million. So
yeah,
it's about 70% done.
Very nice. Okay. Did we say we wanted to add the auto update functionality now?
One more for the date. Oh yeah, that's actually done.
That's
so
done. Okay.
It'll auto update.
And
and one more thing about the Desu archive stuff. So I'm uploading them in pieces as I'm scraping. So once the scrape is done, it should only take like one more day beyond that to actually upload everything to my servers.
Okay.
And then the data is so it's on. It's going to be available through IPFS, but to download it from IPFS, you need to know a bunch of image hashes. So calculating all those image hashes will probably take another day or so.
Okay. So the other thing I've got on the list here is work out how to format the data for the 4chan dataset.
Yeah, that one is done.
That is done.
So
when it comes then to 4chan dataset, can we say it's essentially done, just waiting on things to run and upload?
Yes, that is essentially done.
Okay, so we've accounted for all of the missing images. We've got everything pre and post 2014. We've dealt with all of the difficulties that we had with that.
Yeah, so all of that, all the archive demo stuff it should already be uploaded to the servers. All the newer, that's all the that's all the stuff pre 2014. And I think there's a gap where we have like 2014 to sometime in 2016 where we don't have data. But other than that, everything, all the data I could find has been is basically done.
Okay. The stuff that you can't find, is there a way around it, or are we just going to write that off?
So there's, I think there are a few other archive sites that have some of the data. So for generals in particular, I think there was one site that has been archiving a bunch of generals. So maybe it might be worth trying to go through that and trying to see if they have any of the missing data. It's probably not going to be that much relative to the whole. So I'll probably edit at some point, but it's not that high a priority.
It's fine. I mean, even without that stuff, we've got pretty much everything, and that's probably already enough to make a good data set. Okay. So we just touched briefly on Durbaburu. Has all of this been uploaded? Or has it all been done?
Yes.
I just want
all the Durbaburu stuff has been uploaded.
All right,
so that one is completely done. Nothing even passive going on there.
All right, so I'm just trying to find things to say is done. So is done. Desu archive /archive.array. P dataset essentially done, awaiting scripts to run plus upload. Okay. So just quickly go through this. Let's make sure you're not missing anything. So Desu archive, archive.moe, combine these for a data. We've done that, or it is being done. That's all done. That's been done. You say auto-update functionality is implemented. And we've completed the dataset with old archive.moe stuff. There's just a few things here and there that are missing, which we can maybe get later if necessary.
Actually, there are actually a lot of missing images on Desu Archive. So at some point I can probably like 1 million or so images missing.
Wow. Okay.
Out of like 4.5 million. So for some of those, I can get thumbnails. So maybe at some point we can use some super resolution AI stuff to turn those thumbnails into full images.
Well, thumbnails are better than
we're-
nothing, I guess.
But there are a lot of thumbnails missing as well.
If the thumbnail is just a string of numbers, it probably corresponds to a Derpaburu number. So maybe there's an automated way to get those.
Yeah. I think so. If I just scanning through some of the forum posts for Desu Archive, it looks like they tried to do that already. So if they're, I can try to do it myself anyway because it's easy to do. So I can check for that at least.
All right, sounds good. Okay, was there... So I'm going to say that all of this is essentially done, and I can highlight it and say done. Just want to revisit anything that we wrote for images and make sure that... So there wasn't anything extra on top of the Derpaburu stuff that we wanted to do yet. Because the thing is, with the Derpaburu data, we've got everything, and with that metadata with tags, so anyone who wants to make any sort of image dataset can make whatever dataset they want with the filtering, right?
It's just so right now it's probably going to be a pain in the butt because they have to download some terabytes of data to create that dataset.
I see.
So at some point, right now probably very few people can actually do that. We're probably going to want the filtering stuff, like a search and download only the relevant stuff functionality at some point, so that more people can do it.
Okay, a way around that, if building a filterable thing is difficult, we can build some datasets that are pre-filtered. So for the common sort of stuff that we know that most people would want. So one that's only vector images of the main 6, for example, or stuff like that, or all images minus the garbage, the normal garbage that we would normally throw out.
And I can publish all of the Derpaburu metadata I have and the hashes necessary to download each one. So in theory, people can use that and create whatever dataset they want. It's going to require some programming to create the dataset. Right. So we can shortcut that for some special datasets at least.
Okay. So on the to-do list down here, this is new. I don't think did I. Oh, Gothic added that. Oh yes, I remember this. Gothic added that. That's not important right now. So it's done. We'll want to add some functionality for filtering and all pre-filtered sets for combinations. But that can be done at any time, so low priority. Okay. So, images and 4chan. Is there anything else that we need to talk about that we haven't covered yet?
Don't think so. It's probably similar to the Derpaburu. We'll want to give people some way of filtering images for the 4chan data as well, so they don't have to download again like terabytes of data. Sure. But otherwise nothing.
Okay. Right. I can therefore Get rid of this. Yep. Okay. Filmfiction. We have the basic filterable dataset from the FilmFic archive. Have you done anything with FilmFiction recently, or has it all been focused on animation?
It's so I updated the FilmFiction dataset. It's not so I don't have a way of auto updating that because, well, I guess I can auto update part of it. So I can't auto update the full thing because the way the FilmFiction archive is posted is through blog posts, and I don't know if there's any standard format for how these blog posts are done.
Right.
So at least the download part is going to be manual. But after that, I think everything else is automated.
Okay.
If it's not, then it takes like a couple minutes, so it's to be able to actually run.
Do we want to make it work with the actual FilmFiction so it can be properly automated at some point?
Because
the FilmFic archive isn't automated, but as I understand it, FilmFiction can be auto-updated as stories are added.
I think the main difficulty is updating the metadata. So the problem is that the metadata for any story can change at any time.
Right.
So updating that requires a full rescrape, which is pretty much what the FilmFiction archive does.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as story text goes, we can it might make sense to have our own auto update functionality for that, because we can search for stories where the text was updated more recently, and then like similar to Derpy Guru, we can look for just the new stuff. And on FilmFiction, we can look for just the new stuff.
Okay.
I don't know if it's worth doing that relative to what we get from the FilmFiction archive, though. At least right now.
Yeah, at least
it doesn't seem worthwhile.
But that's fine. So I think we can also therefore call text dataset based on FilmFiction essentially done, barring working out a few last little bits on making it auto-update. Is that right?
Yes. So as far as the auto-update goes, so the auto-update for FilmFiction is probably... I don't know how useful it'll be until we get to the point where people want something that's closer to real-time data. So what we have right now are just a bunch of blobs of data sets, where having it real-time doesn't help that much relative to just having the giant blob itself. So probably after the panel, we can... Like, it's one of the things I wanted to look into after the panel, like trying to figure out how to get real-time data sets for Derpy Guru and 4chan and FilmFiction. But I don't know if it makes sense to do that before the panel.
No, I don't think so. So the goal is to have a usable basic version of all of these datasets done before the panel, and anything on top of that is a nice bonus.
As long as updating each one of these datasets can be done without redoing the entire dataset, then I think we can publish the datasets and we can make them maintainable, but they're not going to be real time.
Right. Real-time functionality I don't think is essential. I think even once a month is acceptable.
The nice thing about, I guess, if we get to the point where we can run AI that tags, classifies, organizes things, then I can see there being a lot of use for real-time data, because then people can run that through the AI and get like alerts, or they can just automatically get all the new stuff on their desktop without having to watch for everything.
That sounds very nice, actually. All right. We'll worry about that later, though. I'm more concerned with the stuff that actually needs to get done now. Okay. So, does any of this that I'm highlighting need to stay? I don't think so, based on what we've said. So, Gothcanon already did a bunch of the soft tuning. He posted about that a week or two ago. He made a little video tutorial for that. So, yeah, I think this is good. I don't think we need that anymore. Okay, now for the big one. So, animation. So, as I understand it, this is also essentially done based on your recent posts in the thread.
So I wouldn't call it essentially done yet, just because I haven't... it's not... So for the other datasets, like for the 4chan scraper, I've been running it for a week, and like first few days when I ran into issues every now and then, so I still had to make some changes there. So it could end up being the same thing with the animation data, where the first few days I run it, I'll run into some issues parsing or rendering or whatever. So I want to wait until it's been running for a few days before saying it's essentially done.
Okay. So
There's one more thing I need to do for this before I start running it on the full data set. And that's so right now. I'm not sure if you checked out. Like if you click through any of that frame or shape data, you'll see it's just a giant blob of.
I haven't actually looked at this. So this is indeed just a giant blob of data.
Yeah. So the issue here is that there's nothing semantic attached to any of these frames. So searching for the data you want to render, and giving the AI some information on how to render certain things, none of that is here right now. This is just a straight, like, here's the shapes, here's how they piece together. So I want to attach all the additional metadata that lets people navigate these files and gives the AI context for what's going on, what it's rendering for each of these. And I'm going to add that as another JSON file, just in addition to the frames and shapes ones. Okay. So once I get that up, then I'll run it on the full data set. And I don't expect that to take more than a day.
All right. So we're very near to the point then where we can generate the animation dataset. And, well, barring the few little tweaks that you just mentioned, and then troubleshooting any errors that come up while you're rendering everything. So all the major tasks then, like all of the working out, the shape tweening and all of that, that big hurdle that we were talking about last time has been overcome.
Yes. So all of the major hurdles for rendering this thing are sorted out by now. There's nothing left except small tasks.
Okay. Do you think we can have near show quality fan episodes by 2027?
Yes, 2027. Yes, that is a long time from now.
Can we get even earlier than that? I mean, that's basically, what is that, 5 years?
Yeah. So the question is how. So going straight from the data we have to show animations is not workable. There's too much stuff we have to learn. Just like as like looking at the AI type of people that come into the PvP and the sort of people that we have. There's too much stuff we have to learn to actually make good use of it right now to generate full animations. So we're probably going to need like a sequence of smaller tasks that makes it easier to work with the data and gets us just familiar with animation data in general, the sorts of AI techniques involved. So that one I can see taking a couple years.
Yeah, because
but after
the thing is, this is entirely novel, isn't it? No one, to our knowledge, has ever tried to do something like this before. So we're mostly flying blind.
That's the big hurdle for us relative to speech, where on speech we could take a GitHub repository and we could run it on our data. We can't do that for animation.
Yeah, so our best strategy therefore is to make the dataset as good and as complete and as usable as possible, and then give it to people who actually know what they're doing.
Part of it is giving it to people that know what they're doing, but so I guess one thing which we should try to do is just see if we have any university contacts or like any researchers or any random people that are interested in animation data, and see who's going to play around with this and hopefully publish the results. But I expect part of it we're going to have to do anyway because it's up in the air right now. I don't know how many researchers would be willing to use MLP data, so it's all up in the air right now.
Well, 15 immediately comes to mind. I mean, if we spam his email enough, we might be able to get him to show it to whatever people he knows. I don't think he himself is interested in animation, but I mean, with the kind of information that he has access to, presumably has access to, surely he'd know a few people.
I think some of the people in Eluther AI and the TPU podcast would also be interested. So one person there mentioned that he knew a researcher that was very interested in doing animation work, but they sort of got blocked on the data side. So that was like a year and a half ago now. But if they're still interested, then we can at least unblock that side of them for them.
Yeah, you probably know more about this side of things than I do. I'm not as well clued up on the who, on the who is actually doing these sorts of things. So, I mean, my strategy has always been just throw data sets out there and hopefully someone who knows what they're doing finds it. And it's worked so far, to be fair.
Yeah, it's done well.
Okay. Right. So, what else then? It seems like the animation dataset is doing very well. ironing out a few kinks, and then building the dataset and uploading it.
So one thing we probably want to
is there
figure out
anything
for
else?
animation, starting roughly now, is what our first tasks for animation or for the animation data would be. So if there's anything simple we can do with the animation data, and we probably just want to pile a bunch of those things.
Like,
a bunch of
hey,
those
look at
ideas together.
this. This is a thing we can do. Just to
Yeah, exactly.
show off. Okay.
It's not even just to show off, but the way the dataset is structured, right now it's structured so that it's suitable for getting animation datasets. But there might be smaller datasets, like animation tweaking datasets that we can put together, like rendering individual assets or rendering changes to individual assets, and we might be able to make the data more suitable for small things like that. That at least get people familiar with the data and starting to use the data.
Okay. Do we have a timeline for that? That's going to be something that presumably happens after the panel, I assume.
It would be nice to do it before the panel because it would be nice to just show people shorter-term goals that we can do with the panel. But I don't know if it's like it's probably something I can make up on the fly and let people know that these are just made up ideas.
Okay.
So it's not high priority. It's just nice to have before the panel.
Right. So you speak of priority. So right now, what is our, or let's be honest, your top priority right now?
Right now, it's the animation, like getting attaching the semantic information to the animation and then running it on everything. That's the only high priority for me right now.
And I think once that's done, we've gone through much of the list that we initially built.
I think that's the full list, isn't it? I don't think we left anything.
We didn't do everything for the text, but a lot of that is stuff that isn't really worth it, in my opinion.
Also, on images,
for me, I'm more interested in film fiction stories and less interested in just blog posts and stuff from wikis.
That's about green texts.
Oh yeah, green texts. I don't think that ever really went anywhere. The data for that is a lot more scattered and not very well labeled or grouped. That's going to be a lot more difficult to deal with.
Yeah, it would be nice to have something initial for green text, even if we don't have a proper data set. So as far as scraping and maintaining data goes, I think I have all of the tools set up so
you can just basically scrape all of pony paste and all of pwn bin or whatever it's called. Yeah, and just get it all into a big blob of
exactly.
So a big blob of text, that's fine. If those all should have tags associated with them, but again, the tagging system on those sites is a lot more lackadaisical, shall we say?
So if we can put together like a bunch of archive sites for green text or ways to get green text, then I can start reading the scraper for that. And the rest of it, like turning that into a dataset, is relatively easy. Cleaning the dataset might take a while, but just going from scrape to dataset is easy now that I have all the scripts set up for it.
Okay. So making an initial dataset is easy. Filtering it is difficult.
Oh, maybe it's difficult.
Maybe it's difficult. Okay. Well, we can do basic filtering with the tags that it supplies us, but anything beyond that, well, it's going to be subjective, or it's going to require a lot of manual effort, like saying all of these green texts are associated with this general, for example. Because a lot of generals, they have their own their own reading lists.
I realize that'd be really useful.
So we could go through all of that. It'll be a lot of manual effort, but it can be done.
I have all the post data, like historical posts data as well. So there might be a way of checking if a large snippet of story text was ever posted in general. Trying to find out That's a good use of that. So I mentioned that there was that archive site that keeps track of just generals.
Mhm.
So it's I'm realizing that it's probably really useful to scrape that, because then we can turn that into a data set that's useful for identifying generals in the full 4chan data set.
Okay.
So from that we can figure out which stories have had large chunks of them posted in which generals.
So the generals tend to have the same title every time, so presuming that metadata is scraped for the 4chan dataset, any posts that are made in reply to this thread, which is this general, can all be grouped together.
I think some of them
but I
just
don't.
the title.
Yeah, but
so
I
they
don't.
have to
Yeah,
be
so
linked.
it would rely on titles. I mean, some of them. I think the reverse gender roles thread is notorious for slightly changing the title every now and then.
So I think they almost always have a previous link and previous thread and next thread link.
Yes,
So
almost always.
So if we can identify those posts and figure out what are the links, then it might be both of those things combined might be a decent way of getting threads with the generals they're associated with.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So that's probably
so in terms
a
of
data set I should scrape on.
in terms of actionable tasks, so am I right in saying that nothing's actually been done for green text yet, other than just generally discussing how it could be done?
Correct. I think I have a pile of old green texts, the Google Drive somewhere, but other than that, nothing has been done for it.
Okay, fine. So I would say shelve green text for now, because animation is more important and takes more time. But when animation is done, we can reconvene and then work this out. But as a general idea, scrape all of Pony Paste, all of Pwnbin, make it basically filterable with the metadata it provides, what little there is. And then from there we can try the advanced stuff by grouping things based on the general they originated from, for example.
Before that second one, we have an additional task of scraping that general that data set of generals from one archive site.
Data sets. Generals. Does it have a name, this site, or just?
Let me find it. Give me 1 second.
All right.
Post the link in my group chat.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, okay, that's a funky name. All right.
Okay, they don't actually associate it with the generals themselves. They just say this is. Oh, is this just MLP general? Wait. It could just be that one MLP general thread.
MLP General Archive.
Okay, never mind. This is not what I expected it to be.
This is just the MLP General thread.
That 8,700 threads.
Yeah, this is just MLP General.
Okay, not quite as useful as I'd hoped. Never mind.
You see, I don't actually frequent this general, so I don't even know what kind of stuff it would have.
Me neither. Okay, so this one probably deprioritize scraping this one because there's not going to be much useful here.
Okay. I'll put a question up. But even so, it may require some manual effort. But if we can go through the 4chan dataset, identify all of the opening posts for generals, and scrape the pastebin links or pwnbin or whatever links from those, and say these links are associated with these generals, that'll give it at least some filterability.
Yeah, and hopefully you don't need to go through all of the open, probably like hundreds of thousands of opening threads. Okay, I guess that's technically doable, but it's a very painful process.
Yeah.
So I guess I can probably do something to. I can probably figure out something to make it so that once you find a few, then you don't need to label those again.
Mm-hmm. I would hope not. I mean, I would hope that the generals use the same sort of templates all the time, so once you've done it for a few times, you can mess around with a few random samples, make sure that any ones that change accord. So yeah, you shouldn't have to go through every single opening post of every single general for this.
So the difficulty is that you're going through a pool of data and trying to figure out which ones are the generals. And every time we find a general, we can pull out all the generals from that data set and just say we know these are generals. But the pool of data that you're searching doesn't get that much smaller because most of the opening threads there are not going to be generals. So you just be filtering through increasing amounts of noise until you are done, I guess. So the difficulty is in the reverse problem. So it's when you identify an opening thread that's not a general, then we use that to figure out other threads in that dataset are also not generals.
A lot of the generals, some have come and gone over the years, but they've remained fairly constant. I mean, well, first of all, a lot of generals have the word general in the title. That's already a dead giveaway. But even though there would be a lot of opening posts that are generals, there wouldn't be as many generals in general. So, I mean, some generals have been going on for ages. So all of the reverse generals, all of the, I don't know, Equestrian, these, I'm just naming generals off the top of my head. That's Anon in Pony Prison, the Pony Preservation Project.
Imagine a similar task for filtering images. Let's say I give you a giant image dataset, and the thing you're trying to do is find all of the images that have Rainbow Dash in them. Every time you find an image with Rainbow Dash, I can use that to find other images with Rainbow Dash and just pull them out of the dataset, so you don't need to remark those. The total dataset you're looking at is going to be mostly non-Rainbow Dash to begin with, and so pulling out the Rainbow Dashes doesn't actually help that much as far as the pool of data that you're actually looking at.
Yeah.
So that's the problem I see with trying to identify all the generals. So we can probably create a good dataset that contains only generals, but it's probably going to be difficult to create a dataset that contains all of the generals. Only the generals.
I see. Maybe we don't need all of the generals, especially if we're only trying to work out what green texts are associated with what.
Okay, yeah.
Because as I say, generals should use the same sort of template every time. So once you get a few of the generals of each general from a wide range of time pools, and just pick out the links that you need. You shouldn't need to... Basically, you don't need to analyze every general. Opening post for every general is what I'm saying.
It's just there's some exploration required here, so I don't know.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to see how it goes.
We can worry about it later, is what I'm saying. I remember there was one post you made a few days ago. Oh yeah. So this post. So you mentioned me specifically in this labels.
I can't see your screen with the post. Which post is it?
Let me just put it on the screen. So, here we go. So this one. So you mentioned me by name here in spoilers. So we have no labels, but Clipper can fix that. So this is in relation to the animation dataset. So are there any aspects of the animation dataset that need to be labeled that I can help with?
Maybe. So you actually did a lot of it by labeling those symbol samples a while ago, where I dumped an image of a bunch of assets. So probably linking that to the animation dataset is something that would be nice to do before the panel, and the rest would be expanding on that. So one thing that would be useful is identifying which symbols are properly rendered and which parts of which symbols are properly rendered. So when something is out of frame, oftentimes the animators won't render the parts that are out of frame properly. Yeah. So if we can find a way to let you render to let you label that, that'd be pretty useful.
I do still have some samples.
What
stuff? So the clean, the rejected, so rejected, so all of these sorts of things. So if it's a case of going through all of this and picking anything that isn't something that's fully rendered. Is that what you mean?
See. You've separated out all the actual characters, right? So
Yes.
anything that's a full character is all. Oh wait, can you go back to the rejected? I saw Twilight that actually looked correct. I'm just gonna be curious about why that one was rejected.
This one.
Down. There. Scroll up a bit.
I'm up. I'm right at the top.
Interesting. Down slowly, I guess. Scroll. Scroll. There. So the middle. Oh, middle row.
This one.
Third row. That's because there are other assets there.
Because there's other stuff in it.
Yeah.
So,
probably one
I
thing I'll do
only
is-
picked out stuff that was 100% clean.
So that might be. What I'm curious about now is to see if I look at this asset in if I just take the symbol, look at the corresponding asset.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if there's a symbol in there that corresponds to just the Twilight.
Okay.
Hopefully the answer is yes. And if the answer is yes, then you have the exact same symbol somewhere else anyway. So we don't need that one.
So I also would advise caution because I am not 100% perfect. There's probably at least a couple of mistakes in here, but
I don't think we need it to be 100% perfect anyway. As long as
by and large,
it's 95+% perfect. That's probably very good.
I think I can put a 95% guarantee on it. So yeah, as you can see,
these are all the characters, right? Not just the named ones.
Are some of these. So ones that aren't named are in the rejected folder, which is this.
That's good. So as long as we can identify all the characters.
Yeah, so they aren't always whole.
That's fun. How did that guy? Oh, he probably had a barrier in front of him, so it wasn't animated because he couldn't see the front legs.
We do have the noisy ones, actually. Ah, okay. In that case, then.
All right.
Yeah, so that's with that now in mind. Stuff like this, or if it's got a tiny rainbow dash in it, I don't know how big a deal it is.
Wow. Pretty cool.
Yeah, so this is why I say I can put a 95% guarantee on it, but this one had Twilight's magic on it. That's probably why it got rejected. Though I say rejected, it should have been put in a noisy folder, probably.
But yeah, I guess just linking all of this data to the animation dataset, something. Hopefully be able.
Is this just going to be a game of Clipper realizes all the horrible mistakes he's made?
These click and drag mistakes or something else?
They would be either click and drag mistakes, or they would be just I've seen so many of these images I've become numb to it, and I'm on autopilot.
It's only 300,000 images.
Yeah. So when you're going through, well, all of these images together are probably over 1 million. So when you're going through that many images, a human is bound to make at least a couple of mistakes.
So I'm worried about the task of tagging generals because that's probably on the order of the same number of opening threads you have to label, and it's much harder to here you can scan through the entire screen basically just by looking at it, right? Before, you can't do that for if I dumped you a list of how many are here, like 100 like 80 generals on a single page, you probably wouldn't be able to identify many of them.
Just bits of ponies. Anyway. Right.
So do we want to, I guess that's like a medium priority thing. Do we want to add that as like a medium priority task?
we got a little bit sidetracked, but yeah, so manually filtering through generals to find green text that are associated with said generals.
So I think we were talking about linking that that data set that you just were showing
right.
with the animation data set.
Sorry, I got sidetracked again.
So we might want to add that as a task.
I'm going to delete these. Okay, so anything that's written in, let's say, orange. Oh wait, no, that's supposed to be tasks for Gothic Anon. Anything that's written in pink, it's done. Like tasks, broad tasks that are 100% complete.
There are more pink because that one looks pretty purple. Well, I guess it doesn't matter, and I know which ones are almost complete.
Not without going into custom colors, I can't be bothered to do that. Okay. So combine the symbol samples set the sorted with the animation dataset to what, remind me?
What were we asking?
What is the, just remind me the purpose of combining the symbol samples dataset with the animation dataset.
Tells us which assets are characters.
Okay. To identify what assets are. Caution sorted symbol samples are not 100% accurate. Roughly 95, which is probably good enough. How much manual effort does that take, if any? I mean, is it just going to be a case of here's a list of the character symbols and here's the animation dataset script? Compare these two, pick out anything that's identical.
So I'm realizing that probably going to need some table of which assets are in which files, or which assets can be found in which files. So that's it. Shouldn't take long to run. It shouldn't take long to write the script or run. So I would probably put it at like 2 days to create the script and maybe plus a third day to run everything.
Okay. Did Homer Simpson ever upload a new PTS? Homer Simpson didn't, but BGM did. If you're not familiar with him.
Sorry, what was it?
I'm just responding to someone in the chat.
Okay.
Just give me 1 sec here.
Yeah, I have trouble keeping up with both the doc and the chat. So if there's anything for me in the chat, then
yes,
you see it, just let me know.
Pony's own guy also does PTS stuff. I mean, are you not subscribed to his channel? If not, why the fuck not? I mean, are you about to tell me that you also don't know about the AI redub?
Thread simulator.
Anyway.
Like it.
That's his channel. Go and watch, well, every single video that he's made. Unironically, BGM is the main inspiration behind me making pony voice content. It was through watching him in the thread that I learned how to do audio editing properly. Right. Right, back to this then. So we've talked about green texts, we've talked about an augmentation to the animation dataset.
Think about relative priorities between green text and the augmentation.
I would put just getting the big blob as the highest priority because that's easy to do and is usable. And I would put the filtering as a low priority because it's difficult to do. It requires a lot of manual effort. I mean, this can be done in a few days. This will require concerted effort.
The green text would probably. I don't know how long it would take right now, but probably a couple of days sounds about right. A couple of days of active effort. So yeah, that works. So,
we can
scrape green text first.
We can do that.
Augment data set.
We can do that together on stream as well, for added efficiency. That way, we're watching each other and we can't slack off.
Do what on the stream?
Sorting the green text stuff. If it's a case of here's a big blob of generals, we need to scrape through these. Anyway. Right. So we've covered images, we've covered text, we've covered 4chan, we've covered animation. I think that covers everything that we wanted to have the basic datasets for. We're not bothering with wikis and blog sites, at least not yet. That's very low priority. We've talked about all of this. Yeah, unless I'm missing something, which I don't think I am. Have I missed anything?
The wiki stuff. Is there anything for the wikis? I think we might have deprioritized the wiki stuff.
Yeah, we deprioritized it. I imagine a lot of the information about Equestria you would get from the wiki, you would get with enough data from the film fiction. It would just learn through repetition, because they're all set in the same sort of universe with the same basic rules.
Would be different kinds of AI that will be required each. So for the wiki one, it's more structured data, so we can make use of more things, but it's also more difficult to make use of.
Yeah, and
so it's just different.
I also remember
tasks,
from looking at it, sifting through it, finding out the data that's actually useful will require a fair effort, and frankly, I don't want to do it. So I'm happy to push that away for as long as there's something more interesting to do.
Okay. If we find somebody that wants to do it, then I can add priority to that. But otherwise, let's just.
Right. So over the next week or so, what actually needs to be done? We need to do the final ironing out of the kinks of the animation dataset. We need to render the animation dataset.
You have. So I think that's. Was there anything else for this year's panel?
I don't think so, because we've got audio that's been done for ages. We've got images. We've basically got text. We've basically got animation, and we've basically got 4chan posts. So all of the main things that we wanted to do are in their final stages of doneness. So, I mean, everything we've talked about in this has either been ironing out kinks or further improvements that can be made, but will likely require a fair bit of manual effort. All of which I'm happy to do at a later time. Because for the purposes of the panel, of going, hey, look at these cool things that we've got, the small details and small improvements are less important than getting the basics all up and running. So that's what I put the highest priority on. One of us is having connection issues. Can you not hear me?
I can hear you now.
You can hear me now. Okay.
So the last minute of stuff I didn't catch.
Right. Fuck. Okay. I will try to rewind a minute or so. So the last question you asked to me was anything else that we wanted to have done for this year's panel. My reply in a nutshell was getting the basics done is the most important thing. Everything that we've been talking about in this stream thing has been all about either ironing out small kinks in getting it done, or little improvements that can be made, but will likely require a fair bit of manual effort. And when it comes to showing off the work that's been done, having the basic stuff there is more important than the fine details of how it all actually works. And I mean, we can always mention in the as part of the panel, where do we go next? What are further improvements that can be made? So yeah. For all of the stuff that we wanted to have done, we either are done or are very close to be having done all of the stuff that we wanted. Audio, images, text, 4chan posts, and animation.
It's everything about looking back from the panel backwards to like what have we done in the last year and what sorts of stuff are we trying to enable. Is there anything? So I think in both of the last two panels, I think we did some stuff to allude to what we intended to do the next year as well. Is there anything like that we want to do this time?
Right.
There's certainly stuff like that I want to do, but do you have any thoughts on that?
I mean, we have had some discussions about this in previous streams, so in terms of stuff that we said we wanted to do last year for this year's panel, so one thing that I want to do is do better for the little after-party showcase thing of the best AI content, and this year the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to trawl through the entirety of the history of the PPP, and probably also Tempo as well. Pick out anything that's AI content, and then just make a big old mega compilation of that, where it's just one thing after another. That'll run on the second SciTube channel as and when there's nothing else going on over there. I imagine it will be many, many hours. What else? I'd probably have to rewatch the panel from last year and reread through the feedback that we had.
What about for next year's panel?
For next year's panel, fucking hell. Where do we want to be next year?
What sorts of stuff do we want to have worked on? So I think you mentioned like getting full show animations by 2027.
Somewhere in the chat.
Might be shorter goals, like 1-year goals.
Well, fully generated episodes would be nice, but that can be the goal over the hill. But I think everyone knows that with the way it is right now, that's just not realistic. So continuing to fine-tune the datasets so it can be at a point where we say, yes, this is done, and yes, this can auto-update in real time. Alright, let me just write all this. What do we want to set as goals for next year's panel?
Can't see your screen, by the way.
You can't see my screen, why not?
Let me try exiting this and then coming back.
I am streaming, so you should be. Everything's showing is okay on my end.
I mean so I can see the SciTube stream. I can't see the separate stream. 1 second.
Okay. I'll just restart it.
Okay.
Alright, how about now?
I can see it now.
You can see it now, okay. Right, so I've got here what do we want to set as goals for next year. So going forward from next year's panel, further fine-tune all datasets to be as good as they possibly be. So by that I mean filterable, auto updating.
Stream updating.
Say again?
Streaming updates.
Streaming updates. And the idea being that these can be easily shared. All in easily shareable format for anyone willing and able to use. Okay.
Also on the dataset side, I'm hoping we can find some way to archive and create like a dataset of pony videos and songs as well. They'll probably run into the tens or hundreds of terabytes, so it's not the sort of thing where we can just toss up a few servers and call it a day. but I think it's actually doable at this point. The technology is all there, and I think I'm familiar enough with the technology to make it possible, but probably take a bit of work to figure out how.
Okay. So right now, we can use the audio data to make more show audio. What I would like to be able to do is use all of the data that we have available to us right now.
Don't have scripts though, right? So we can
to make.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I'm breaking up again.
I can hear you right now. I can't hear you now. No, you've gone. Is this me who's screwing up the internet? Damn, I think it might be. Yeah, it's me. I'm the problem.
Testing. Can you hear me? Testing.
Right. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
I just heard you for briefly. Can you say something again?
Hello, 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 hello.
Okay. It seems to work now.
Yeah, I think it was my internet that just wavered for a moment there. Because the little light on OBS went red just for a moment there. But it's green now, so I presume everything's okay.
What you were talking about before you cut off?
I have no idea when I cut off, so hopefully it works.
We don't have a script data set still, do we?
We should do. I mean, if we don't, it should be trivial to get, because you can just download the scripts from the archive or the wiki as just one big blob of text. Okay, so OBS is barely streaming anything. The light is red. What if I disconnect and reconnect my internet? I might just have to go and kick my router a couple times. Can you still hear me? Can you hear me by chance?
Sentence, like the